Well, my name is Kay Webb, and I am the current First Lady at the University of Pikeville here. My husband's the president, and so I serve in that capacity.
Now, as a little girl, did you want to be the first lady of an institution, or what did you want to do as a kid?
You know, I'm certain that is on the bucket list of every little girl. It's not something that you imagine or dream that you're going to be a first lady. No, I actually grew up in the era of people like Amy Grant and Sandy Patty, and my parents were always involved in music in the church. My dad directed the church music and things like that. So I started like at 3-4 years old singing, and I honestly, when I was a little girl, wanted to be the next Sandy Patty. I wanted to be a performer on the stage. Loved it.
So that was a dream back then.
Yeah.
If we were to ask you now about your dream job, what's your dream job now?
Oh, definitely the first lady. No, though I do love what I do in that capacity. My dream job really is working with young adults in a college setting, and I've kind of always found my way there in one way or another. Just helping them kind of figure out who they are, figure out all the different strengths they have and things that they have to contribute to life around them. And my dream job would be kind of that mentoring role of working with young adults to help them kind of figure out life and figure out who they are in their unique design, all of that fun stuff.
Did anything happen in life that spurred you on that path of mentoring young people and kind of that call that you had?
You know, I think it was a series of things that happened, not just one thing. I did pursue music for quite a long time, well into my late 20s, early 30s, and then realized that it wasn't really what I wanted to do for the rest of my life. And so it was that taking that time to kind of self-reflect on the things that I had done that brought me joy and where I felt like I was really using the gifts that God had given me. And I can remember a really kind of existential moment where I was driving in my car, listening to music, which that's often the way that God speaks to me. And it was just that, I remember the song that came on that said, "Be still and know that I am God." And I just started like weeping because it was that moment where God just kind of said to me, just hang on, sit still, stop running and pursuing and trying to figure it out, and just be quiet for a while and listen. And that was really kind of a key moment for me where I realized that maybe there was more to life than just music for me. And it was a turning point for me.
So now, I know we're trying to take your whole life and try to put it in one sentence, which is, but if you were to put it in a sentence, what would you say your call is?
I've been thinking about this a lot, and I've actually been involved in work around calling and vocational pursuits for a long time. I think if I really had to define it, it would be to listen to people and truly hear their heart, and then help them reflect well on who they are and what makes them tick.
So today, with that kudos to you to have a real defined kind of sense of that right now in this stage of your journey. Do you feel like being the first lady aligns with that, or is there something else in your life that more closely aligns with that call?
I think it definitely aligns with it. I've often said to people that God doesn't waste anything, and one of the kind of tongue-in-cheek jokes that we have among first ladies, we do occasionally get together from other institutions, is there's no job, there's no course that you can take to prepare you for this kind of role, and it definitely isn't something that you pursue in life. It's something that often drops into your lap. And yet that ability to walk into a situation and listen and bring a sense of calm and a sense of direction and purpose in conversations. It definitely is something that I use on a daily basis. As we go out and we talk to alumni, we talk to people in the community that are really trying to find who they are and how God is using them. It definitely is something that I tap into and I see God being able to use in a variety of different ways.
You had a big impact in people's lives, right? From being mom
Mm-hmm.
to in admissions to the professor to now your role in the institution here.
Yeah.
But who's influenced you on understanding who you are and in your call?
Wow. Several years ago, when I was kind of at that key time in my life where I was trying to figure out who Kay was, not, beyond being a musician, how I had kind of always defined myself. There was a lady that was actually a professor at the university where my husband was working. Her name was Judy Huffman. And she sat down with me and was kind of the first person that pointed me on this path of, let's explore all of the different things that you've done. And look, because at that point I had probably 6 or 7 different jobs, none of them what I would really call a career. But I'd worked in a variety of different jobs, from running a daycare in my house to being in sales and marketing for a music company, to working as a church administrative assistant and getting, kind of managing everything for the pastoral staff. And I worked at a bookstore at a university for a few years, just a variety of different things. And she said, okay, let's take all of the different things that you've ever done and think about what you found most fulfilling about each of those different things. You've done a variety of different things. What has been most fulfilling? And see if you can find a common theme. And that was really kind of key for me, because that's where I realized that working with people, in all of those different things that I had done, working with people and engaging with people in positive ways, was something that I really found fulfilling. And any time that I was in a job that took me away from that, that was when I started, this thing that we talk about, job satisfaction. That's when that started to decline, where I was taken more away from working with people and focusing more on tasks. That's where I found less satisfaction. And so that's kind of what steered me onto a path toward psychology, toward counseling, which I then ended up pursuing with a master's degree and a doctoral degree.
So if a person was listening to this today and said, your life, I just I want to do what you're doing.
I want to be you.
Yeah. What did you do to get yourself in this line of path here?
Well, I think one of the first things was just being open and flexible to new opportunities and new ideas. Fortunately, that comes easy for me. It's, when you talk about personality and you talk about, different personality assessments that look at your strengths and look at your preferences and all of that stuff, that's really natural for me, is this adaptability, this flexibility. That's something that really was helpful to me in just being open to new ideas and new possibilities. And also listening to people around me. So many times we think we have to do it all on our own, and we think that nobody understands what we're going through, because everyone else seems to think that, we seem to think that everyone else has it figured out. Because we all want to make people think that we know what we're doing and that we have it figured out. So I think that was the other thing that was really key for me, in addition to just being open to experiences and new opportunities. Just really listening to people around me and asking their advice, and being able to sift through that and take the good with the bad and figure out, what other options and possibilities might be out there for me. I don't know if that answers your question, but hopefully it does.
you had a lot of interaction with young people. Like you said, for a very long time, you were even dealing with a sense of vocation, call. So when a person comes to you now and they say, I have no idea, just have no idea, what advice would you have for them?
Well, but usually my first response is welcome to the welcome to the club. Yeah, because we're all trying to figure it out, and it really is a journey. And I think so many times, at least our culture, puts emphasis on what you do as defining who you are. And that's not necessarily true. What we do is often a reflection, can be a reflection of who we are and what we find valuable. Sometimes what we do is a means to an end. It provides resources for us to really live into our calling or what it is that we're passionate about. But I think the advice that I would give people is, seek input from others. Find those people that you really trust, that you really feel have your best interest at heart. Because sometimes we're surrounded by people that give us lots of advice, but it's not really for our best interest. And so you have to seek out those people that you really believe have your best interest at heart. And then, engage with them. Ask questions about what they see you doing that really seems to give you life. Because often we aren't able to see that in ourselves. And then look at those things that you do, that you engage in, that you think to yourself, oh, I could do this forever. And just, it's energizing to me. I'd do this if I didn't get paid for it. Those are the kinds of key moments that give you a sense of purpose and meaning. And then find where they might align with things that you could do in a job capacity, maybe through volunteering. It might not be a specific job. It might not be a job that is available today, but may become available in the next 5 to 10 years. So I think my advice would be less focused on the major and be more focused on what brings you fulfillment and what kinds of majors, what kinds of things could prepare you to do those things that you find meaningful and purposeful in life.